And thank you so much for joining us today. I am Christina Lynch from AgentPort, and with us today we have Jeremiah Padilla from Mozio. And we are super duper excited to show you how we have integrated Mozio into AgentPort. So now you'll be able to search for and book transfers for your customers, making it super easy to give them an additional add-on. And without
Perfect.
further ado, let me go ahead and hand it over to Jeremiah. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
You're welcome, Christina, and thank you everybody for joining and for being willing to listen about how Mozio can help you in creating wonderful experiences for your customers. Right? I think something that's important to understand is why Mozio is here. Right? Why what Mozio brings to the table in terms of agent port and vacation port. So that's what I'm here for, to tell you all about Mozio and to tell you how you can make the most of it. Um, you may or may not know this, but Mozio was founded in 2012, so that gives us more than a decade of experience. And while we are a technology company at heart, our main focus and our main product is airport transfers, right? Um, so within this time, we've been able to partner with over 3,000 local transfer providers on a worldwide scale, right? This brings you coverage in more than 180 countries when you need to get your customers from point A to point B, right? And I think it's important to say that while I did mention airport transfers, it's not only airport. You can get your customers from the hotel to the airport, to a cruise port, to a sports venue, to a different hotel if maybe they're changing hotels in the middle of the holiday. So we allow you to book all that online while making a commission, while keeping everything in one place, and while giving you safe of mind as peace of mind as well in terms of quality. It's important to highlight that we work with local vetted providers. So they go through a vetting process and we ensure that they have all the permits and all the qualifications to provide services where they operate, right? Furthermore, we apply very strict quality filters once they start working with us. We take our customers' feedback and we use it in order to grade our providers from 1 to 10. And to you as travel agents will probably only give you the best of the best, right? So anything that's scored 8 or below, we won't show you because we want to ensure that your customers are getting great quality and very low incident rates so that you don't have any headache while booking your Mosi rides or while your customers are using our rides, right? If you were to come into any issues, our customer support service is available 24/7 in English via email, phone, and live chat. So you can chat with our agents live. You can send them a WhatsApp. You can send them an email. You can make a phone call and get through to a live human being, no AI agents at Mozio, so that you get assistance with anything you need, either canceling a booking, managing the booking, um, making a new booking, perhaps. So anything you may need, our customer support team is there to assist you, right? Um, as you can see, what I'm showing right now is the Mozio white label main screen, right? This is the first screen that you'll see when you go to start using the Mozio tool, right? And as you can see, you have two buttons because the use of the white label is limited to travel agents that have an account with VacationPort, right? So the first thing you'll need to do is fairly simple. You simply click on create an account and it'll ask you for your first and last name. It'll ask for your email address. It'll ask you to confirm your email address and then for your mobile phone number and a password. That needs to be, I believe, more than 12 digits, one uppercase, lowercase letters, numbers, and a special character, right? The standard for any password that you see nowadays, right? So once you click on create an account and once you submit your information, you'll get an email asking you to verify your email address. You click on that one, it verifies your address, and you're set to go, right? Next time you come, you just click on sign in, and I'm going to use an account that I created for myself, and you'll see the booking engine, right? I'm going to delete this because we want to start from, okay, it's taking my cookies, so it's not deleting, but it's all right. Um, it'll show you the search engine where you can start booking your rides. And as you can see, you have point to point, which can be an airport pickup or a hotel pickup to take your customers to anywhere they need to go, or it can be an hourly ride if you need your customers to have a driver for the day, or if they require some sort of service that needs a driver to be assigned to them and they don't know exactly where they go. I don't know. We have customers who are in Paris and would like to have a nice shopping day and they want a driver to take them around the stores. Maybe they want to do some sightseeing in Rome, so it's better to have a driver come and take them from monument to monument throughout the day, right? So you can also book them an hourly ride, right? There are some other buttons that you see here on the top. The first one shows me that I'm logged in, right? So it shows my email address and it shows my status as a travel agent. If I click on the little arrow here, it'll take me to my account and my bookings, but it'll also allow me to log out in case I need to. I can also select my currency if I need to pay in a different currency or if I'd like to see the prices in a different currency. Same as the language, if you speak another language and would prefer to have all the information in, I don't know, Spanish, French, any other language. We support, I believe, 19 languages at the moment. So you simply change the language of the white label and all the information that gets sent, the confirmation email, everything else, it will be in that language that you've selected. Last but not least, you have a resend booking button in case you've misplaced a booking confirmation. You click on it, you enter the email address associated to it, and just like that, you get a new confirmation email, right? Moving forward to the search engine, which is very simple, but there are some tips I want to show you and some tricks that I think will make your life easier. For the pickup location, you would have typically we look at airport transfers because that's the most common pre-booked service that we see. So for finding the airport where your customers are flying into, you can enter the IATA code if you know it by heart, as I do with the time I've been working at Mozio. I tend to know most of my IATA codes by heart. So if my customers are going to London Heathrow, it would be LHR. I can also enter the name of the city, and it'll show me all the airports that service that city, followed by ports and train stations. Right, so I can see here there's also Gatwick Airport, Stansted Airport, the London Port, St. Pancras. Right, so it'll show me more than just the airport I may be looking for. Right, and if I know it and if I'm more used to it, I can also use the name of the airport, right? So if I enter Gatwick here, it'll show me as the first option the airport with that little plane symbol, signifying that it's an airport location where I'm doing the pickup, right? Next, I want to do the drop-off location, so where my customers are going, right? In this case, I've selected a Holiday Inn in Kensington, around the Kensington Palace area. So I know that it's a pickup in London and a drop-off, a pickup in London Heathrow, and they're going to a hotel in London, right? I could have done a myriad of other options, right? I could have done, I don't know, Charles de Gaulle Airport going to Paris, Venice Airport going to somewhere in the Venice Island. Um, you have coverage and you will find services in over 180 countries. So maybe one of the challenges we can do is if anybody can find a location where you do not have coverage, you can send it to me and I'll send you a discount code because it's very hard to find those. Also, make sure that when you find a location that doesn't have coverage, you let us and our support team know because they work with our supply team very closely and they add supply to satisfy your demand quite quickly, right? So
I
make sure
love
you
that.
always let us know. Sorry?
We're going to hold you to that.
Oh, totally. Please do. We always like to get feedback from the user so that we can ensure the white label and the service itself is working as good as it can, right? So next you would go to pick up your to select your pickup time and date, right? So the time when you need your customers to be picked up, right? Something that's interesting to notice is that this is the pickup time and not necessarily the flight landing time, right? Some of the other options that are available in the market ask you to enter the flight landing time and they go by flight landing time. We feel it's much better to allow you to have some flexibility, right? Because it's not the same when I'm booking a ride for a friend of mine who I know doesn't travel with checked luggage and they only have a carry on suitcase and they're traveling domestic. So I know that he'll be out of the plane and in the arrivals holding 15 minutes to meet his driver, that when I'm booking a ride for my mom, who may take 30 minutes to an hour, right? So allowing you to select a pickup time allows you as well to set that buffer so that you knowing your customers can give them a little extra when landing so that they can meet their driver and they don't need to rush through the terminal, right?
I'm with your mom on
That
that one. I always have to hit the restroom, maybe grab a snack, wait for my luggage because I almost never carry on. So I'm definitely with her on that one.
I go for a weekend, I bring checked luggage, so I'm with my mom. So yes, I totally agree with the more. I prefer to wait for my driver as well, right? Now that being said, uh, and I think it ties perfectly with what we say here, right? If your flight's delayed, we wait for you. We have a policy at Mozio, and we ensure that that any provider that wishes to work with us is able to carry this out. It's our promise to our customers that if their flight is delayed, their driver will push ahead the pickup time according to the delay, right? So if I was scheduled to arrive at 12 with a pickup at 1, but my flight is delayed until, I don't know, 1 p.m., then my driver will know that they need to adjust the pickup time to 2 p.m., right? So the drivers monitor the flight. And even if the flight is delayed, which is happening a little bit more frequently these days, they know that they need to wait and they know that they need to push the pickup time further, right? Um, Last but not least, we have the number of travelers. So if you're booking for one person, you would enter one. If you're booking for more, you would enter the exact number, right? Count kids in this equation because we count them as travelers and we make sure that they have sufficient space in the vehicle for uh, for traveling comfortably, right? So you also have a toggle here that allows you to book a round trip, right? So if they're going to Heathrow to the Holiday Inn, but they need to come back to Heathrow, you can book the second ride on the same reservation, right? So it'll basically give you two reservation numbers, meaning there's two services attached to it, but you can do it all in one go so that you don't have to come back and do again the search, the selection of the provider, and so on and so forth, right? So if we click on search, we're going to see all the options that are available to be booked, right? I'm going to give it a little time. We also see some information here: guaranteed pickup, verified providers, instant booking confirmation, free cancellation up to 24 hours. Some of the values that we share when people start looking at Mozio and getting to know our product, right? These are some of the reasons why we stand out when faced with the competition, basically, right? So if you saw, it took a little to load because I used Heathrow into London for a reason, the number of options that I have available, right? And this doesn't only mean the number of providers that we have in London, but also the number of vehicles that are available in London, right? So if I wanted to, the most typical for two passengers is a sedan, right? Because it's comfortable enough for two passengers. It has sufficient space in the trunk of the vehicle, and it's usually the least expensive option, right? But we also have budget options like the bus. There's a bus that runs between Heathrow Airport, also Stansted and Gatwick, I believe, into central London. The only difference is these passengers would need to walk from the coach station into their hotel, right? There's also the train, which, if you're flying to Stansted, is a great option. You avoid the 2 hour traffic, and and it's a much better experience. You still need to take a taxi when you get to Paddington Station, but you avoid a 2 hour ride by car. Like each time I fly into London, I'm like, yeah, no, a sedan is much more comfortable, but I prefer to be there in an hour or 40 minutes rather than sit in traffic for 2 hours, right? This one, of course, is less because it's Heathrow, and Heathrow is much more closer to the center of London. But those are the tips and tricks that you want to know. Next, we have sedans. We have private vans for for larger groups, SUVs for people who are bringing perhaps more luggage, like I do. Uh, we have private buses when you have large groups, right? Um, we have taxis. We have limousines, right? So it depends a lot on what customer you're booking and what their expectation is, but you will find options for each of your customers, right? You will also notice that we rank, as I said, our providers from 1 to 10. Minicab Ride Limited has a 10 provider score. And if I scroll down, I don't think we have very bad quality in London. Yeah, the majority, as you can see, have very good scores. Britannia's airport cabs has an 8.4, which is still very good. Like if I had to book a ride for myself and I would see an 8 or above, I would be like, yeah, that's all right. I don't have to worry about my driver being slightly late or anything happening, right? You also see the class of the vehicle, right? So if you're on a budget, you'll probably go for the standard. If you want to, if you're go traveling for business, maybe you want to find one of our options that's business class, as you can see here. So that would bring you, that would give you a better class of vehicle. And if you have really high end customers, you can also find them first class vehicles, right? There's also a filter on the top. So if you wanted to only see first class, you can toggle that filter and it'll show you only first class vehicles, right? Moving forward with the information that we see on the search page, you have the total amount of passengers that fit that vehicle and the total amount of luggage, right? We need to, unfortunately, this is a problem that I come across quite often. We need to understand that vehicles have a limited amount of space in the trunk. Unlike airports, if I have extra luggage, I'm in trouble, right? So, uh, we need to make sure that if the customers ask us to, or we know that our customers are traveling with more than one suitcase each, that we book them as a suitable vehicle, right? That's something that I usually take into account because anything that needs to be stowed in the trunk of the vehicle counts as luggage typically. And if there's not enough room, the driver may need to call reinforcements for transporting the rest of the luggage, right? It's not the end of the world, but it's not the greatest experience for your customers if they need to wait for a second driver to come help, right? This is an airport pickup. So one of the options that you'll notice here is meet and greet. This means that when the passengers arrive, the driver will be waiting for them with a sign at the arrivals hall, right? That's a typical movie scene when you get out of the when you see the character getting out of the plane and going into the arrivals hall and they see tons of drivers with signs with customers' name on it. That's what happens. Otherwise, what may happen is the driver may contact the passengers via WhatsApp or via text message a few hours before the ride and tell them, hey, this is my name, this is my number. Let me know as soon as you pick up your luggage, and I'll get close to the pickup point, or I'll tell you where we meet. Right? Typically, right outside arrivals. Um, One question that we get asked quite often is how soon before the ride do customers get the driver's information? Typically within 6 hours before the ride. Some providers give it earlier than that, and for that we have the early driver details uh, signal or badge that we give to providers who do an exceptional service and give us driver details much further in advance, right? This provider, Minicab Ride Limited, also has ride tracking, which means that your customers get a link where they can click on it and uh, they'll see the real live location of the driver on a little map, so they know exactly where their driver is coming to pick them up, or at the airport, or at the hotel, right? Um, as you can see, Minicab Ride Limited also offers 60 minutes free waiting time. This is the standard for an airport pickup. So any provider that wants to work with Mozio, we ask them, please, when it's an airport pickup, they need to have at least 60 minutes free waiting time. So going back to my mom and I, who need a little extra time at the terminal, so my flight lands at 12, my pickup is at 1, but my driver will wait until 2 before worrying, right? Because it's not that they wait until 2 and poof, they leave. No, at 2, 15 minutes to 2, they usually worry and start making calls, sending text messages, and trying to figure out where the customers are, if they need extra waiting time, what's going on, right? Because we know that things happen, right? You get delayed, your luggage doesn't show up, things like that can happen. So usually our drivers, before leaving, they make as many attempts as possible to reach the passengers to make sure that if they're at the airport, they are waited for, right? They wait a little extra and ensure that the customer gets picked up. Okay.
Jeremiah, does that include if there is like a delay in flight, or would they add then an additional
No.
60 minutes onto the new arrival time?
It would be to the new arrival.
Okay,
So the flight
awesome.
delay is separate from this. So even if, say, the flight, for example, which was scheduled to land at 12, lands at 1, then the driver would you would land at 1, your pickup would be at 2, and your driver will wait for free until 3 p.m. Right?
Very cool.
So it all gets pushed a little further when there is a flight delay, which makes it also simpler for your customers because they know that even if there is a flight delay, they don't need to worry. The driver will always be there. And if they show up and the driver is by any chance not there, they can always contact our 24/7 support team, and they'll either make contact with the driver to ensure they go back to the airport, or they'll tap into our on demand service and they'll send a replacement driver, right? Because as I said, we have agreements with over 3,000 providers. So whenever we need to have a replacement, we find it uh, quite quickly, right? Usually within 5 to 15 minutes, um, we can find a replacement driver to send to your customers in the unlikely event that the original driver had to leave, right? Sorry for that. So once you've found your option, once you've selected a provider that you wish to book for your customers, the only thing you need to do is you click on book right? And this shows you our book trip page, right? Which is basically the last step between your having found your option and you're actually checking out and confirming your reservation. We get some additional information here. For example, we have the local provider's cancellation policy. So in the case of Minicab Ride Limited, they allow you to cancel up to 6 hours before the trip, right? So if anything happens and you prefer to cancel the booking, you can cancel up to 6 hours before the ride and get a full refund, right? Um, it also shows us the trip, right? So pickup location, drop off location. It shows us information in terms of the pricing. Something that's really interesting is here we have the Your Earning tab, and this shows you how much commission you're getting for this ride, right? And if I'm not mistaken, you can actually edit this here. Yes. and you can customize the commission that you'll make for each of your rides, right? Um, Something that's also worth mentioning is your customers don't know how much commission you're getting, right? So your customers will get a confirmation email including the full price paid, but it doesn't discriminate your commission on it. So you can make sure that your customers get the confirmation information, but don't know how much you've tacked on to your booking, right? Um, Something that's also, well, the next stage would be to enter your customer's information, first and last name, email address. They'll ask you to will ask you to confirm the email to ensure that it's the correct email entered, and the phone number, right? But once you've done that, you can save that customer. If it's a customer that you typically book for, you can save their information and simply create a profile for them, right? So if you're booking, I don't know, 5 rides for this person, you can save their information and simply select it from the profiles that you have saved. That way, you don't have to worry um, about remembering their information by heart, right? So you just select it from the drop-down list because you've saved it beforehand, and it populates entirely automatically, right?
What a great time
So
saver.
it totally, yes. Um, I use it all the time because I book I book rides for our CEO, so I make sure that I don't need to enter the information each time. So
Right.
yes. We also have a field for you to enter your email address, which allows you to get a copy of that confirmation email. Now, your copy of the confirmation email will have the commission that you've entered, right? So don't worry about it when you see it on your confirmation email. It's totally normal. You get to know how much you're adding to that booking. Your customers don't. So don't worry. I know that typically you see it there and you start worrying that your customers saw how much you tapped on. That's not the case. It's just for you to keep track of how much you entered for your bookings, right? Because the drivers monitor the flight, what we'll need to know next is what the flight number is, right? So if you start typing the flight number or the name of the airline, it'll show you what flights arrive at approximately the pickup time that I selected so that you can find it on the drop-down list and select it uh, from there, right? Let's actually do something here. I selected 1 p.m. as my pickup. So what happens if I select 1:05 p.m., which is actually the meaning that the driver will show up 5 minutes before the flight has landed, right? So our system detected that automatically and adjusted the pickup time to 30 minutes after, right? And it says you're requested to be picked up at 1 p.m., but your flight's landing at 1:05, so that doesn't make sense. We've rearranged it so that you're picked up your um, after your flight has landed, right? And it actually shows you a little timeline showing that your flight lands at 1:05, your driver arrives at 1:35, and the free waiting time ends at 2:35, right? If we keep, you may have noticed this. We have SMS notifications, so you can add them to the trip. So the customer gets notifications via SMS. For example, they get a confirmation that the booking has been made. They get a link to track the booking to track the driver when the driver starts going into the pickup location. They get reminders that they have a booking coming up, etc. So that may be useful for your customers. Not everybody likes it. I personally prefer not to receive the SMS. Um, so I never select it for my personal rights, but for my mom, who keeps forgetting, I often do, right? Uh, Next, we have our flight monitoring guarantee. We like to ensure people are aware that that exists and that they don't need to worry in case their flight is delayed. You're allowed as well to, or you're given the opportunity as well to add gratuity beforehand, and that's completely up to you. As you know, while in some areas it's very customary to tip the driver, it's not always required. So if you want to add it before riding, you can totally do that, right? For people traveling with children, you have the ability to add child boosters. You can also request it to be a child seat. So you simply add it to your trip, and then you make a note here on the special instructions specifying this is there's going to be a child on the among the passengers. Please make sure you bring a suitable child seat or a suitable booster for a child of this age, right? You can also pre-book additional waiting time, right? It's a little pricey, but some customers need additional waiting time, right? And uh, my recommendation is always use the pickup time selector because that way you don't need to pay extra. But if you want to add extra waiting time, you can do that, right? The only difference is with extra waiting time, the driver arrives and waits for the customer. Whereas if you use the booster, the driver may not arrive until the pickup time you've selected, right? So if your customers are available earlier, they may need to wait a little for the driver, right? That happens. Now, the last step of this is the payment, right? And you can use credit cards that you've stored. As you saw, I you have here the button that says Update Customer Profile because I was using a customer profile that I had saved beforehand. I can also link a credit card information to that customer profile, right? So I can either enter it from scratch here, or if I already have it, yeah, I can browse it from the credit cards I have stored. Right? I should have added one to show you the next stage, which is the confirmation. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to quickly create a coupon code so that I can bypass that payment stage. 1 second.
I was gonna say you should put it on your CEO.
Oh, totally. Well, I usually don't. I usually use, well, when I'm booking a Mozio ride, I don't usually enter a credit card. I just use a coupon code, and
Oh,
that's much,
sure.
much easier for me. Yeah.
Perks of the job.
Here we go. Oh, yes. Here we go. So as you see, it's not going to take into account here. I'm going to change this actually, because any discount code that we offer doesn't usually include here. Doesn't include any commission that needs to come out of the credit card because it's actual money. Here we go. Actually, here we go. Okay, so now we've made it so that it zeroes out, and with my commission there. So I'm going to actually change this because I don't want Jose is our CFO, by the way, but I don't want an email to be sent to him. And I'm going to change. So I'm going to change this to my email real quick. Um, and make sure that he doesn't get notified because he'll be asking me like, "Hey, what's going on?" Um, I should have probably unticked that, but well, that's all right. So as you see, I've gotten to the confirmation page, right? And now I see the booking number, right? I see the itinerary, right? So pick up at 1:35 p.m. for the flight I selected. Approximate arrival to the hotel at 2:06. I also see a button to cancel or change the trip, the pickup instructions that your customer needs to follow when they get to the airport, right? So I have all those informations here. Now, you'll be like, what happens if I leave this page, right? First off, you got a confirmation email, so that already covers your how do I find this information again. But also, if you click on your email address, you can go to my bookings, and you will find not only the past rides, but also the rides that are upcoming, right? So I can find all my rides here, and I can click on it, and I can again either cancel or change my trip, right? If I click on change, it's very simple. It'll allow me to, in this case, it's giving me some trouble because I use that coupon code. But you can always contact our customer support team and make changes. But I can enter here Mandarin, Oriental, maybe. Um, and change any part of the trip, right? I can change the pickup or the drop-off location. I can change the time, the number of travelers, etc. Right? Typically, for you, when you're doing it, it'll show you if there's any additional amount due. Right? It's not showing me anything because I used the coupon code, but it will when you do it on a live uh, setting of this booking. Right? Now, if I go quickly back to my bookings, I can cancel this, right? Because this was actually a live booking. So Minicab Ride got notified, and on their dashboard, they're seeing that there is a new ride. So I want to make sure I cancel this. Um, and I can do it very simply by following two steps, right? I go to that confirmation page, I click on cancel, select one of the reasons here, and click confirm cancellation. And you can see the ride is now canceled, right? Now, quickly going back to your dashboard, right? As you can see, if when you click on My Bookings, you have other information here, right? Account information is your personal information that you use uh, on our website, right? So your email, your name, your phone number, you can update all that from here. On your profile, you see the travel agent profile. If you want to enter your IATA code and other information that you may have that you want to enter there. It's not going to show me anything here because it's only a demo account. But if you have sales, you will see them here as well. So for the month of April, I had 0 sales because first off, we're in May, and I this is the first time I'm using the white labels, this white label specifically, but you would see how much you've sold, how much commission you've made, etc. Right? For your withdrawal history, you would also see it here. You can change your commission settings. As you can see, I had it set up as a percentage, but I can set it up as a fixed fee. If, say, for example, each time I book, I want to make X amount of money, or I can make it a fixed percentage out of what the booking costs, right? I click this. I just save the changes. And next time I go to make a booking, it'll show me um, those parameters, right? In France, only PayPal is allowed, but in different locations, you have different withdrawal methods. So go to your account to check which are available. I know we recently added Stripe Connect, which allows you to withdraw in many different ways. So it's very, very interesting. Unfortunately, it it goes by location. So I get PayPal only here in France. So you'll probably get many more options to check out to withdraw your commission. I mean, sorry. This is where I save the information that I was able to select from the drop-down list on the other page. So you can save your customer profiles here on this page from your dashboard. And then you can select what you want your customers to be notified about, right? So if you don't want them to get a cancellation email when you cancel their bookings, if you don't want them to get tracking reminders for knowing where the driver is, if you want to hide entirely the price information on the confirmation email, right? If you don't want them to get a confirmation email for a one-way trip, etc. Right? So you can basically customize this from this page. You save your changes, and your confirmation email will basically vary depending on what you selected from your dashboard. Okay. I think that was pretty much it. It was quick, and I hope everything was clear enough. I don't know if there were any questions from the presentation.
Not yet. No, no questions that came through. I thought it was really clear. I think what we'll do now is I'm going to actually move a little bit backwards and
Okay.
show everybody where in AgentPort they where they're able to get to where
Perfect.
Jemiah was showing. So I'm going to go ahead and take this back. Okay. So I am just logged in already to my AgentPort account. And this is the landing page that you would see when you first log in. Super simple. All we're going to do is go to search and book. And you'll see now we have a new tab here for transfer. If I go ahead and select that, you'll see very similar experience to what Jeremiah was showing. But what I can do is I can actually start my search here, which I'll go ahead and do. If it'll let me, there we go. And I'm going to say I'm arriving at Portland, and I'm going to put in our office address. I'm just saying I'm needing a ride from the airport to our office, and I'll hit search. And then what you'll see is it brings you into a new page. And this is where Jeremiah was. So from here, everything's going to look exactly like what he was showing you. And I did create an account really quick beforehand, but if you didn't already have one, it'll just bring you to that page where you can go ahead and create an account or log in if you have one, but just haven't used it in your AgentPort account yet. So super simple. And I'm so excited that we can now offer this. And I absolutely love how much control you have over your commission with this. I think that's the first one I've seen that has so many options for that. So I think our customers are really going to like that.
I think so, yes. And I know that it ties the whole experience together because oftentimes you can buy for your customers the flight, you can buy the hotel, but if you add on to the middle the ride, it makes it whole a seamless experience. So
Yeah,
really excited for
absolutely.
you to be able to make commission out of making your customers experience much better, right?
Definitely. All right. Well, I think that might be it. I do want to go ahead and leave our contact information up here, though, in case anybody has any questions. If I don't know the answer myself, I will make sure I reach out to Jeremiah and bug him about it and make sure we can get you an answer to your question. Well, thank you so
Great.
much, Jeremiah. I really appreciate you spending some time with us. We're super excited. And again, I'll reach out if any questions come up that I can't answer. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day.
Have a wonderful day too, and talk to you soon.
All right, take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.